जय ब्रह्मदेव।
At the back, can you hear me? Okay. Uh, Cameras at the back, we are live. Good to go? Okay. I think on stage they are good to go. Just a minute. Is it live? Okay, we are live. Yes. Good morning, everyone, and I apologize for the slight delay. As you know, internet is a very dicey and spotty thing, and fortunately, the link is up. This conference is being this workshop is actually being broadcast and live streamed live on Facebook and on YouTube because we want that the people who could not attend, as well as the people who are down there in the stage. We have close to about 1,000 plus farmers. So this hall is very small. We cannot accommodate all of them. So just to make sure that they do not miss out on such a valuable experience. So we are broadcasting it live down there and also is streaming on the internet. So that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. I would like to quickly introduce to you the team from Japan, led by Major General Takahirano. And of course, Japan's most well-known and most successful buckwheat producer, Mr. Atsuru Goto, I think I pronounced the name right. And of course, a very own facilitator as well as leader who has been facilitating this, Colonel Ranjit Singh. So the three of them. So the three of them, of course, Mr. Hirano is going to make the presentation on behalf of Mr. Goto. And tomorrow we are going to have a farmer interaction where if you have questions about buckwheat in detail, tomorrow also they'll be here so you can ask. And because we have back-to-back conferences or workshops today. And also, I think online we already have the networking sessions where people can get a chance to talk one-on-one with Mr. Goto. That is also there tomorrow. But that is, sorry to say, the slots are all taken up, all full. But anyway, he will be here, he'll be around, and they have a stall here in the outside. So you, at any time you have anything, you can go and meet them, ask them, and also they have brought samples of their buckwheat. And they will also, Mr. Goto, actually yesterday we had a very nice time where he actually demonstrated how to make a buckwheat galette. So he'll be showing that also. So don't miss it. You can visit them in the stall. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Goto, Major General Hirano, and Colonel Ranjit Singh to this buckwheat. They have come all the way from Japan just for this. And I'd like to welcome all of you who have actually made it today. And I know a lot of people, you have come from far off. And all the farmers who have so enthusiastically participated. When we first started, we did not expect such a response. But I think we are house full. We don't have any more seats. I think more seats will be brought in. That being said, thank you for coming, and I'd like to welcome Major General and Mr. Goto to now talk to you about the Japanese buckwheat experience. Thank you. Please. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Kaste basok. Okay. Kaste bakek. Okay. Hi. Good morning. I'm Atsuro Goto. I also one of the farmers in Japan. First of all, I would like to thank you everyone for today. Thank you for inviting me Buckwheat Festival. I'm so happy to meet you everyone today. I hope to able to talk with as many people as possible. Okay, next, a more easy understand talk change for Mr. Hirano. Please.
Okay. あっちでも。Okay, okay, 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 okay. Thank you very much. I'm very impressed with your introduction. Car step. Very difficult for me to pronounce it correctly. But everybody can understand, I hope, you know. I have no, good morning, yeah. And Kublai for coming here. Much better, really. Okay. So let me introduce Mr. Goto first, now. Okay, next. His name is Atsuhiro Goto, as he said, and the representative director of General Incorporated Association Farmers Management Incorporated. Okay, his farm, Farm Yukino, is founded by him. Okay, and a member of Tokyo Agricultural University National Association, member of Japan Soil Association, member of Soil Preparation Advisor. Okay, next. Yeah, too many qualifications. Shall I read all of them? But anyway, please do understand he has a 31-year experience for cultivating buckwheat in his country, which means Japan. Okay? So many licenses he has. So it means he has a lot of agricultural experience in Japan. And one of the best cultivator of buckwheat in Japan. Okay? Thank you. Oh, what? Mike? Ah, oh. Kublai. Better? Yes. Do you hear me? Okay, thank you. So next one, please. Oh. You have some pointer? No? Don't worry, it's okay. I have this one. Japan. Hokkaido. You understand? Hokkaido is the place where he was born. 6,000 kilometers from here. Okay? Next. You see now very clearly. See Hokkaido, northern part of Japan. And this area used to be covered by snow half of the year. Half of the year. So the lowest temperature is sometimes below minus 30. In summertime, temperature goes up to 30 degrees. Very good condition for cultivating buckwheat. Okay? Very similar to here. Very similar here. No? You have a similar temperature here. So, Hokkaido, you see this Hokkaido, no? The Japan is here. This is a place where he is cultivating buckwheat. Approximately 50% of all buckwheat in Japan are produced in this area. Okay? His farm is located here. We call it Asahikawa district. His farm is here. You see, here. The width of land for buckwheat cultivation is 170 hectare. Hectare. He owns and he cultivates buckwheat there. Okay? Next. Fukagawa Asahikawa, introducing his place. Okay? So, just click, it's a movie. My place, his place. Covered by snow. Covered in snow, yeah, just I said, huh? Half of the year. Beautiful, isn't it? You have a snow, no? Small snow. Sometimes the thickness is much high. Actually, snow leaves a lot of profit to the land. Okay. Farm Yukino. I'll explain about his technology. Okay, please next. Oh. Huh? No. Okay. Okay, it has come. Huh? High quality FMI from his farm has succeeded in buckwheat cultivation technology based on the third one experience. Oh, my voice is small. Oh, okay. Better. FMI's his farm's buckwheat has been sold at the price range from 150 to 200%, higher than the ordinary ones in Japan. Ordinary buckwheat cultivated by Japanese people. So it means his buckwheat quality is very high, 1.5 or 2 times more expensive than the ordinary one, right? Okay? Oh, not one more. Okay. Oh, very stable production. And, stabilizing the annual production volume by implementing appropriate growth management with high-tech equipment, such as drones. You say drones. Now, everybody can understand drones, and everybody, maybe most of them can control drones, but the important point is software. Software. He developed software to know the land condition. Okay? Okay? So buyer, currently, Hokuren, I explained about Hokuren, buys all the buckwheat produced at Farm Yukino, his farm. See, Hokuren is Hokkaido's largest federation of agricultural cooperatives, with sale of 1,530 billion yen, equivalent to 900 billion Indian rupees annually. Very big. Okay? Hokuren, as I said, delivers his buckwheat to many stores, markets, like a 7-Eleven. You know 7-Eleven, some shops established in India too, 7-Eleven. And so many supermarket. Okay? Buckwheat cultivation at Farm Yukino. Okay. Please run. It's also a movie at the Farm Yukino. Many people are working, just representatives. This is a machine, to dig 30 centimeters below the ground and mix it for the fertilizer purpose. In fact, the original video has a very beautiful music backside, but let us forget about it. Oh, it has come. Thank you, sir. Yeah, this machine loosens the topsoil to make seeding easier. This machine can stably store fertilizer with constant pace. See this one. Eh? Beautiful buckwheat. Wow, 170 acre. Hectare. れハーベスターですね。Yeah, this is a harvester. Harvesting machine. Godo-san, you are driving this? これ運転してます ?He is driving this. You see, Japan is, Japan doesn't have so many people to be engaged in farming. Okay? Oh, newly cultivated buckwheat. You have a lot of manpower because, you have 10 times more population than Japan. 10 times more. Okay? So our population is so small, we have to rely on machineries. Okay? This is the buckwheat. Okay. So buckwheat seeding amount is 10 hectares, 7 kg. Okay? Okay. You understand the ridge width? It's a manual or machinery, whichever, 10 centimeter and 15 centimeters between planting wheat, ridge. The ridge width shown above is common in Hokkaido. So most farmers plant sowing based on these numbers. Okay. The speed is about 5 to 10 kilometers per hour, this machine. Okay. Fertilizer. Okay. To harvest a big amount, we use fertilizer as 20 kg per 10 acre, which is a standard amount in Hokkaido. It increases 50% if the soil is not good. Okay? Pest control. Okay? In Hokkaido, the buckwheat cultivation is less infected by insects. However, when a cabbage moth increases, cabbage moth, it's like a butterfly, no? Sometimes it increases. In case it increases, it will cause a tremendous damage for cultivation. So that in that case, it is necessary to spray a pesticide like this. It's a pesticide spray. Okay. 3 steps in sieving. As I told you, his buckwheat very, highly evaluated. Okay? Oh, yeah. This is movie? Movie. Yes, harvesting. You can see movie. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh. Drying machine. Normally, Japanese rice dryer use kerosene, but use rice husk or bamboo by using the machine, which can convert rice husk to a charcoal or bamboo to charcoal. So no need kerosene. This is the machine. This is the charcoal. We can burn it again. It's a small type of machine, not expensive. Rough sorting. We don't sort cat. Don't worry. Connect the attachment to the main body. This is harvested today. Lots of dust are seen. You see, lots of dust are seen. How do you see? Very simple operation. Just switch on. It's processing, just processing. Before, after. Yeah, you can see a lot of, dust and, stalks. If you can use this machine, you can save your time for drying. Okay? Next, sorting machine. This machine takes 5 steps for sorting. It's also very simple. Just switch on, then machine will work. This is 100万ぐらいですよね。Not big machine. This size is enough for 114万。114万。11 lakh. Japanese yen means 6 lakh. 6.5. Approximately 6.5 lakh Indian rupees. 6.5 Indian rupees makes things easier, much easier. If you are doing by yourself, you understand, huh? How hectic work it is. How hectic work it is. So, uncomfortable work. So the machine will do everything. Okay? The third step. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's also video. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't do that. This size is this. The size is this much. Come here. This much. Okay? Before sorting. Only one process. No repetition, just one process. Oh. You can see a lot of dust to the left hand. Oh, could you pause it? Pause it? No? See, many dust you find, huh? Many dust. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. Many dust. Thank you. It's a bit difficult to identify, but you can see a lot of dots, black dots, no? It's all the dust and small stones. This time, very clear, no static electricity is generated. So far dust does not stick to the hand or come down. Okay? Oh, these are dust and small stones and calyx. See, these dusts are perfectly removed. Okay? Okay? Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's good, that's good. So let me tell you one thing. If the small dust, small stone, if the very small stone included to the buckwheat, you are not able to export to Japan. The custom officer will stop to import the sawdust box. That is why every such dust and small stone must be deleted. Okay? Okay. Oh, I just explained in the initially, drone. Everybody can control drone, but the software is very important. He is developing software. Next one. See, the left picture shows the lack of nitrogen. Lack of nitrogen. It's a result of his software. Writes it enough nitrogen, okay? So, if this state would be obtained through the drone survey, you have to add some nitrogen to the ground. Otherwise, no buckwheat will come. Okay? Future demand in Japan. As of June 10th of 2019, Japan is importing 25,000 tons of buckwheat from China. Okay? 8,000 tons of buckwheat from Russia. 17,000 tons of buckwheat from USA, other countries, okay? Today, as you see, economic sanction because of the conflict or war between Russia and Ukraine, we are unable to import buckwheat from Russia. Today, no opportunity. It's prohibited by law. Okay, we agree to put a sanction, place a sanction to Russia, no? So unable to import. Who will cover this? Who will cover this? India. Right! India! And also, we have a problem with China because southern part island problem and human rights problem, no? So very unstable to import in the future. Okay? Oh, nothing comes. Oh, near future, India will be replaced by, Russia will be replaced by India. Okay? You have to provide, right? Near future. Next one. Future, India. All India. You must make a great effort to increase your cultivation. Okay, harvesting. Right? Okay? Soba, buckwheat noodle. Okay, we'll demonstrate how to eat buckwheat, no? Buckwheat noodle. We call it soba. Soba. Just see. Very tasty. We Japanese like to taste original, original taste of buckwheat. And we enjoy the aroma of buckwheat itself. So usually, no mixture with other materials. Mushroom and chicken. We have two types of way of eating, with soup or without soup. This is the without soup. ここで試食するのダメですよね。It's a dried soba, dried buckwheat noodle. 30% increasing these days in Japan. You know why? Because soba is very good for health. これ明日やるんでしたっけね。このまま。はいはい。So, Mr. Goto will demonstrate buckwheat noodle, okay, for eating. Please join us. You can taste it. Real buckwheat, real soba. See? It's a dried noodle, dried noodle. Back to sweet noodle, soft noodle. So after dried, we have to put them into very cold water. We call it shimeru. Live the buckwheat noodle. Give the soul to the buckwheat noodle. See, this one. Very tasty. We used to make a sound eating soba. It's a totally different manner as you have now. Eating, dip the soba into the soup. Make a sound is a good manner in eating soba. In Japan, it's a good manner. Okay, so when you eat soba, try to make a sound. Okay, so put something as a topping onto the soba. It's called fox style soba. Okay? Okay, thank you. Let us be a leading buckwheat exporter in the world. Don't worry. We are all together. We are all together. Okay? Good. Kublai! Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Major General Hirano, as well as Mr. Goto, and of course, Colonel Ranjit. In Khasi, we say Kublai, and I think in Japanese, you say arigato. Arigato. So, it's a very, very illustrative, I think it's a very illuminating presentation, and which actually opens up a whole world of possibilities. And I think nowhere in history, I think we are at a turning point in history. I think this is a watershed day, a watershed occasion, because this time will not come again, where the confluence of geopolitics and situation across the world has made it so ideal for India to actually become substitutes for China and Russia. Why not? Why not? We have, as a country, a landmass that is a little bit less than China. But we have a huge, huge number of farmers. And this is our advantage. And I personally, as the Meghalaya Farmers Commission, we believe that this buckwheat revolution in the country should start from here, from the Meghalaya, from Northeast. Yes. And we are talking about just not only the Northeast, we are talking about the entire sub-Himalayan regions. We have buckwheat can be grown in Kashmir, can be grown in Himachal, can be grown in Uttarakhand, in Sikkim, in Arunachal. The entire sub-Himalayan belt can grow buckwheat. And believe me you that because of COVID, the awareness of the health benefits of superfoods like buckwheat, pseudo cereals has gone through the roof, and now we actually have people who are looking at various derivatives from buckwheat, right down to the point of extraction of protein, rutin, lysine. And believe me, buckwheat can actually also add to the diet of the children of the country who are on the midday meal. Why can't we do that? India itself is a huge, huge consuming country. Imagine if entrepreneurs, if some of the entrepreneurs, they actually start making, energy bars. Why not? Just a thought. But I leave these thoughts with you because there's a lot of work to be done. Major and Mr. Gotu, let me tell you something. We started with 4 acres of buckwheat, and we have the team here who actually started it. The team of KVK, Kongbada, Shanme, and Bayaisha. Please stand, let everybody see you. This was the team that started from 20 kilos of seed. Today we have this, in this last season we had more than 100 acres. From 20 kilos, 4 acres, we went to 100 acres. This season we will touch probably 500 acres. By 2023, we expect to touch another 500. Probably because our advantage in the Himalayan regions is we can grow buckwheat 4 times a year in different seasons, in different locations. In the hilly regions, we can grow it 2 times. In the plains, we can also grow it 2 times. So we can actually grow 4 times a year. And this is where we're looking at this massive expansion that, by 2023, we should be able to touch anything between 1,000 to 2,000 metric tons, which is small, but it is a start. So with these few words, thank you very much, Mr. Major General, Mr. Goto, Colonel Ranjit. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. We have the next speaker, Professor Chungru. He's the president of the International Buckwheat Research Association, worked for many, many years in buckwheat, and vast experience, but he's going to talk to you more about the enterprise opportunities by using such a valuable resource. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and thank you. So please don't leave. We will be, in fact, the professor is on the way here. As soon as he comes, we'll immediately start. Thank you. While we're waiting for Professor, any of you have questions? Quickly, we can take maybe 1 or 2 questions. What is the correct yield per acre? Yield per acre, how much production per acre? No, buckwheat is not a legume. It will not fix. It's a pseudo cereal, yeah.
Reduce the amount of nitrogen, fertilizer. That is why he is using high technology by using drones. Then, get to know the condition of the land. Then, yeah, there are huge land, but in some area, not enough nitrogen. Only part of that. Just put it. You understand? Thank you.
I was getting confused by the slide.
Okay.
Any questions? Any other questions? Professor, have a seat.
In processing, you have shown you are heating the buckwheat. So why we need to heat in processing? Yeah.
Processing in we are processing harvest.
So you have shown that grains are heated. Why we need to heat? Heating. Drying. Okay, drying. You can say it's a drying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cultivator, buckwheat cultivator. So he does not process it for eating. Just send the buckwheat to the Hokuren. Hokuren, the big organization that can process the buckwheat to dried noodle and powder, anything. It delivers to the market. Okay? So the role is very different. He is a cultivator. Hokuren is a distributor. Supermarket is a seller. You understand? Three roles, clearly divided. You understand? And your role is to produce beer, no? Okay?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Major General. Yes, you can meet Major General later. Now I'd like to welcome Professor N.K. Chirungu. He is the current Dean of Royal Global University in Guwahati, and also the President of the Indian Buckwheat Research Association, the International Buckwheat Research Association. So I'd like to welcome him. He'll be talking about the entrepreneurial, the opportunities with the buckwheat bioresources. Please, Professor, you have a presentation. You have a presentation?
I think, yes, you can put it.
Dr. Lashai?
Good afternoon. First of all, I should express my congratulations to the organizing committee of this meet that they have taken up the challenge of propagating and promoting cultivation of buckwheat in this region. And that's a great opportunity because I will tell you, when I came to this region in 1988, hardly there was any information about buckwheat in the minds of people. In fact, as late as, I would say even 2000 even, nobody would talk about buckwheat because we would talk about rice, wheat, maize. And when I got the request, in fact, I got the request suggestion that I should have a discussion with Meghalaya Farmers Empowerment Commission, and we had an online discussion. I felt so happy that what we had been doing in the lab is taking shape in the form of product development, entrepreneurship, and getting this concept of why buckwheat into the minds of people in this region. And for that, I am extremely thankful to the Commission, and I congratulate all of them on behalf of the International Buckwheat Research Association for taking the charge of propagating buckwheat forward. Now, I will also say here, we organized a symposium, international symposium on buckwheat. We meet every 3 years, all across the globe. People come from Canada, USA, East Asia, Africa, then Australia, Europe. We meet once in 3 years to discuss the various aspects of buckwheat, and one of the components of that is the culinary challenge of buckwheat. We discuss science, we discuss breeding programs, which are academic in nature, and we discuss the applicable aspects, soil science, soil characteristics. I feel, in fact, I regret at that time when in 2019 we organized it, we did not involve in the way they have involved right now. We did not involve because it didn't strike our mind. And maybe if we would have involved even at that time, we would have discussed maybe our convincing power to involve the hotel management people, involve the Meghalaya Farmers Commission, involve Meghalaya government may not have been that much because it was not known. But then in 2019, after the symposium, there were queries from Government of India as to what's being done on propagation of buckwheat. So the change started moving ahead. And the Krishi Vigyan Kendra came into the play in a larger scale. Before that, there were some programs from Government of India on all India coordinated programs on buckwheat. But the major factor, which is what for we are talking about buckwheat, for people. And for people, for what for? Is it a product development? Yes, ultimately. Is it societal benefit? Yes, ultimately. Should it percolate down into the people that if I cultivate buckwheat, it's going to give me returns? And that return is important because nowadays nobody looks at cost benefit, everybody looks at cost benefit analysis. So we look at buckwheat from two angles. One is its capacity as a capability as a nutritionally dense, important food crop. So it has got, I should tell people here that it is now being considered as a superfood. Some people call it a smart food. Smart food because it can grow everywhere and anywhere. You need very low inputs, agricultural inputs. It is climate resilient and climate is changing. In Meghalaya even we see, when I came, we used to have rain for 11 days together. Now hardly we get rain for a day, it rashes out and then it goes off. So it's a climate resilient crop. It is nutritionally rich. It gives a balance of proteins and carbohydrates and essential minerals. That's from this food point of view. It is considered as a superfood because it has those ingredients which I will talk about a little bit later, which are not present in wheat, which we take, or rice, which we take regularly. That is one part. The other part is, does it have industrial applications? Yes. Buckwheat hull pillows, if you give the Google keyword search buckwheat hull pillows, you will find many information about suppliers and manufacturers of buckwheat hull. You give Google key search of buckwheat recipes, you will get so many recipes in India itself, which we may not know otherwise sitting in Meghalaya or sitting in regional pockets. So can it have implications as a nutrient-dense food for all? Yes. And can it have applications as an industrialist? How do I look at it? We have two people which are very important, Norman Borlaug, many people must be knowing about him, and Bill Gates. Both of them have put focus, you are happy if your belly is full. So belly would not be with rice only, belly would be if it is we are nutritionally full. That means we are healthy nutritionally. So it has both the components. And if we look at that, then the essence of the day is that we focus on bringing buckwheat in the same gamut of cultivation and process development, product development, as was done around 50 or 100 years back on rice or maize. So that is what's important here. Next, can we go? I think if we have the, no, if we have the remote with me, I can do it myself. Okay, no problem. It's changed now. Why do we need to look at it? I will talk about both the aspects, nutritional aspects, food aspects. This slide gives us a vision of what is going to happen in 2013. So between 2022 and 2030, there is going to be a significant increase in the absolute population. Even though the percentage increase in population is decreasing, but in absolute terms, the population is increasing, and most of the population is urban. 50% of the population is going to be urban. So if that is so, then do we need to look for food for this increased population also? Next. Number two, we have noticed everywhere across the globe, climate is changing. And one of the reasons for the climate change is greenhouse gas emissions, which we as ordinary people, everyone should know what is happening. We say pollution is because of industrial activity, pollution is because of vehicular traffic movement, but my dear, large greenhouse emissions are directly coming from agriculture. And if we put pressure on agriculture, increase the agricultural output, we have to put in more of fertilizer, more of water. So that means there is a pressure on our resources. And if there's a pressure on our resources, is that sustainable? Ecologists, environmental scientists, social scientists can take their own decisions. People, common NGOs can think about it and take a call on it. Is agriculture sustainable the way we are cultivating right now? That doesn't mean we change our agricultural concept, we change our food policies, but what we mean is, can we produce more of food with whatever we have, more food per drop, more crop per drop. That sustains us. Next. And one is a very important thing that we have to keep in mind is, where from is our food energy going to come, or is it currently coming? We have beans, cassava, maize, rice, sweet potato, wheat. Measure maize, rice, and wheat. 3 crops producing 57% of the agriculture and our energy requirements and 90% of our protein requirements. Is that sustainable? No, that cannot be considered sustainable. Anyone will say that. So what do we need to do? We need to diversify our food basket. If we diversify, what we are going to cultivate? Those which we have not been focusing till this time. I put my bet on buckwheat. 1. I put my second bet on amaranth. I put my third bet on quinoa. So these are some of the crops which are otherwise underutilized. You go to the shelves now, quinoa is coming up like anything, and you get in the packets. You go across different countries of the globe. In Europe, buckwheat is coming up in different forms: pasta, noodles, kasha. You go to any shop in Meghalaya, ask what is kuttu, they perhaps don't know. And they don't know because we did not take it to them. That is the word. Not that they don't know. We are here, people now, the interaction between hotel management, catering, farmers, Meghalaya government, academicians, trying to take this forward to bring to the knowledge of the people that we need to go in for diversification of crops. That is where buckwheat comes in. But next. And we need to have an array of such crops, amongst which We give the freedom to the people to choose what they want to choose out of what is available in the better farm. And what do we have just like back one? We have most of the crops here, and these come under buckwheat, millets, quinoa, pigments. In fact, this year it is called as millets, year of the millets. And I think 3 years back, we had buckwheat, international buckwheat year. So we need to look at these crops from their nutritional point of view. We need to look at their crops from industrial potential point of view. I will try to give focus on both next. This is all. Everyone must have talked about it. I would not talk about it. Can you go to next? Then comes the grain which we are talking about, and why do we call it superfood? It has several positives, and please, I will also speak about the negatives, which are hindering the process. It is neuroprotective, grain is coming. It is antioxidant. It is having the flour is gluten-free. That means it is the best source of diet for celiac patients, which we have lot many around in the global population. It is hypocholesterotic. That means its consumption reduces blood cholesterol level. And if we take regular buckwheat as a food in the breakfast, after, I will say, 3 years, I will show you a picture. I will show the guy is around 90 plus. And I talked to him, I went, how come you are so fit? He says, I am a mountain people, I take buckwheat. So it is hypotensive, reduces blood pressure. It is hypoglycemic, reduces blood sugar also. And it has something in it which protects you from cardiac diseases. This is what we have. What is negative here is, and there the industrialists and technology people have come in, it has a hard seed coat, which is difficult to remove. Number one. From academic point of view, the seed coat has certain chemicals which give it a bitter taste. And when we make a flour of buckwheat without removing the seed coat, the flour is blackish little bit because of the presence of polyphenols, which we know in academia, right? And when we keep it, it turns little bit pungent and sour, and people don't like the taste. So what's important to be done? Remove the seed coat. We can't remove the seed coat hand by hand. That is not possible from an industrial point of view. Develop technologies. Do we have? Yes. We have the technologies to remove mechanically the seed coat. So next one. See the global scenario on buckwheat. How come India is majorly out of this global scenario? How come? Is it that our food preferences have not been of the type that we are used to dosa or idli or uttapam? We can make good choices out of that, or we don't like pasta, or we don't like noodles, or we don't like kasha. Kasha is the roasted grains. We don't like, but, well, be what it is, all across Europe, China, North America, it's consumed like anything. India, Africa, it's left out. Arabian countries, it is left out. Next, please. Just hold on the back. He wants to take it. I think you are taking it. And in India, it's grown in northeast. It's grown in not entire West Bengal, but in the upper reaches of West Bengal, that is Siliguri onwards. It's grown not that much in this region, but it is grown in the upper regions in Arunachal Pradesh. It's grown in Meghalaya also now, I would say it. I used not to say it earlier that Meghalaya it's growing in. I'll give a story on this. In 2019, when the International Buckwheat Research Association wanted to have a symposium here, we had it. We usually have a system of field visits. and discussing on the field, having sessions on the field. I tell you honestly, I was scared where I shall take them. I tell you honestly. And then I tagged up with NBPGR, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources. They have an office here. You would know the office, they are there. And we tagged up and we made some fields of buckwheat. We planted and it grew there. And I had the pictures, but I didn't take them. We took them there. Had it been 2022, I would have said nothing doing. We have a lot many area of buckwheat. I would have contacted Farmers Association. But then the advantage is it is there now. So Meghalaya I include now in the scenario. Then we go to northwestern part of India. That is the Hindu Kush mountains, eastern mountains, western mountains along the Himalayan range, Jammu and Kashmir, and Ladakh to a large extent. And there is another championship, buckwheat championship, now this year organized in Leh. So it's propagating, that there must be something in the propagating. Then there is in the Tamil Nadu hills, Nilgiri hills, and in Chhattisgarh. Next, please. So what is there in buckwheat now we need to know. Before we think of taking it, using it as a food, it meets the World Health recommendations of a nutritionally balanced protein diet. It has 18% protein, nearly 6% lysine, and lysine is not synthesized by the body. So we need to take it from outside. And if we are deficient in vitamin A, we may likely be blind. If we are deficient in lysine, we have several diseases which come up and follow up as an outcome of lysine deficiency. Methionine, tryptophan, lysine. So honestly, to tell you simply, it is a nutritionally protein-rich crop, which if taken over a period of time, not that today I take it as a fad because there is a competition, but if taken over a period of time, we will become healthy. And second, I will tell you, next please, it is a rich source of rutin. Rutin is a flavonol. Some people may understand about what it means, but it is a cardiovascular protectant. It strengthens the blood vessels. And we had to do some work in our laboratory on rutin. We got a 10 milligram just pack of rutin for 80,000. It's so much costly. Why I say this? Because it's not available across the board in different crops. It's available in two important crops, black rice, there, berries, and buckwheat in the grains. So this is a nutritionally rich crop, nutritionally dense crop. Then what do we do with it and what have we done? Next, please. Forget about this, it's natural source of antioxidants. I don't want to bore people with academic information. Only to tell you is that, believe me, there is data available, scientific evidence available, that it has several phytonutrients. And if we use it regularly, it's going to be a health benefit. Now, if we go to the next slide. Antioxidant properties, you can rush through this. You can rush through this. This is not there. Then, sorry. If we look at what Meghalaya is doing, I was looking at a news clip, and this comes from his side only, that buckwheat cultivation expected to generate big bucks for Meghalaya. So is there a potential? Time will only tell to what extent, but our experience tells it, yes. And if that is so, in what form does it have the potential? We know that it is nutritionally rich, and I will tell you one more story on this. We are unfortunate in the sense that we don't use our own traditional knowledge, information. The information that is available in public domain, was used by someone sitting in USA to make a nutrient supplement Arginex. And that is available in public domain. And when I looked at that information, it turned out that our information was being used to prepare by someone, because we don't have the tendency to harvest the information for entrepreneurship purposes. Similarly, when we looked at the routine, people are using what they call as biopharma labs, industrial setups, to generate routine production in the roots of different crops and sell it in the market. They call it molecular farming. There are industrial units of that. So, but Meghalaya has come out on buckwheat, and from a meager cultivation to the proposal is to have 1,000 acres. Lashai is not here. I think she has gone out. She is here. Yeah, she is hiding because she is the, come. She is the master person on these, under the guidance of, we have Dr. Sohalia, we have Dr. Vijay Kumar. Now we have people now sitting in place doing the job, and I was telling him, Lashai, you are doing a great job. And thank you very much, Lashai. What you have taken is, what we did in the lab has been taken in a way by you to the land. Right? So anyway, I think Meghalaya government will come up with a solid plan of action on this, and it is already sure there. Next, please. These are all taken from their sites. I don't claim any authorship on these sites. But what does it indicate? That if you involve people, explain to people, the first component, as Dr. Gatto was saying, that there is a cultivator. The first thing you need in a system like this, where agricultural economy is the cultivation. And if you involve cultivators and train them, they will be able to produce the product. Then what is the second step? Is the quality of the product, the processing of the product, and then whether we get good output or not, and the problems come here. We should know that there is yield instability in this crop, and there are scientific reasons for that. So people have shifted, I was telling some time back, from one species to another, from esculentum to tataricum. Tataricum has yield stability, esculentum has yield instability. So when we plan to take it to the entrepreneurship level, we have to look into this aspect, because if the cultivator does not get a stable yield year to year, he gets disinterested. And we don't want that. The second one here is the dehulling. The dehulling process, there are two types of dehulling processes. One is thermal dehulling and another is non-thermal dehulling. Like thermal dehulling is like a popcorn system. You hit it under a vacuum, it pops, and the groat comes out and the hull is out. It is a mixture of hull and groat in the same arena. But what does it do? I will come to that. This will be important for those who take up the industrialist approach on this. If you heat the seed, thermal treatment changes the rheological. Rheological is the processing quality of starch. If that happens, it is like partially boiled grain. It doesn't give a good output, so I am not able to sell my product in the market. On the other hand, if non-thermal dehulling is there, which is mechanical dehulling, then I am able to prevent thermal denaturation or heating of the groat, which makes it easier for me to prepare flour out of this groat. You do a test, have groat, heat it little bit so that it becomes little bit brown, and have the groat which is not heated, grind, you will see the textural quality of the two will be different. There is another thing that is there in this one, is it doesn't give a good dough making property. It doesn't have good dough making properties. For that, we have to use a processing rule, that is, do a mix and match. And use ratios of wheat flour and buckwheat flour. Don't use absolute buckwheat flour only. Use wheat flour and buckwheat flour together, 10, 80, 70, 30, 60, 40, depending on the dish that we want to prepare out of this, depending on the dough making quality that we want to have it, and get the output of this. So these are two things. The third thing which is important, if we don't remove the grain, and when I was looking for buckwheat here, I would get the hull and the groat mixed together. The hull has an enzyme called rutinosidase. It scientifically does certain chemical reactions within the groat that we have more of quercetin production in the groat. Quercetin, if kept like that, gives a bitter taste. And so my yield is not sold. So we have to remove hull and groat. And for that, the techniques are available. Next, please. This is the guy, Ivan Kraft from Slovenia. He is 95 plus, and he looks absolutely like this even now. No, he eats buckwheat regularly in the breakfast. Japanese take it as soba, noodles. These people take it as kasha. And that is where they process, means the Japanese industry has gone ahead with buckwheat product development. Chinese industry has gone ahead with buckwheat product development. European industry is still lagging behind on that, but still is there. So they develop products. This is 2003. They have prepared dishes out of buckwheat, and we were demonstrated. This is in Slovenia. The guy is from Slovenia. We were demonstrated how an array of dishes can be prepared. I'm happy we have an array of dishes in India now on buckwheat. The only thing that we go, if I go to a restaurant, I do not have a label of buckwheat dishes as specialty. I do not have, because maybe I do not have a culture of taking buckwheat. This has to be by policies and popularization, and that is what is happening here. So we have and see how people are interested in looking at the dishes, how they are made. We don't care. I'm honest on this. We don't care. Hoga to hoga. ठीक है. So we have to be on a proactive scale. And if you, as industrialist, now here the industrialist is a caterer, not even actually is a restaurant owner. I will come up that. So he belongs to the hotel industry. If he takes up this as a specialty, some people say the investment in 1 or 2 years is a loss. An entrepreneur says the investment in first 2 or 3 years is actually the investment. So invest and get the return. There you can go ahead and develop products. If people go ahead with realizing the popularity and the nutritional benefits of buckwheat, they will come on and off. Next, please. No, okay. There's a place called Lasko in Slovenia. Only 3 persons are managing this brewery. Everything is automated, and they make buckwheat beer, buckwheat wine. And this is a fact. If we have the capacity, can we not do it? There is potential. It is for us to choose the right potential and harvest the right potential. Only 3 people. We couldn't find even a soul other than 3 people there. And see what they do is, there's a tourism industry associated with it. You have bulk conference people coming, you take them, and some days later, some years later, the picture comes in Shillong. So it gives a feel to the other person, oh, there is this possibility existing, can't we do it? Next, please. This is what we did, and this is what I was talking about Arginex. We did the whole thing. We worked out the protein composition and our processing, and somebody came up with Arginex. We lost the opportunity. There's already a patent with them. We can't do anything. Next, please. Next. So, a process structure flow chart has to be established. This flow chart is not for buckwheat grains, because I told you the buckwheat grains problems that are there. There's another thing. This flow chart is for buckwheat sprouts. Can we not develop sprouts, which is the easiest thing? Pack them under nitrogenous air conditions and sell them as packed sprouts. And sprouts have more nutritional value than the growth or the dry seeds, because the seeds contain some anti-nutritional factors. There are some inhibitors. Those get lost when sprouts come. So what we have buckwheat honey. I had seen a photograph of Meghalaya Farmers Commission wherein pollinators are on the buckwheat flowers, and the buckwheat honey is considered to be more nutritive and much antioxidant than honey from others. Dabur sells honey. Can't a farmer sell honey here? In a blockchain. So you have to have an industry marketing relationships developed so that it can be done. So what we have raw buckwheat seeds, we have thermal processing, we have non-thermal processing, we get the growth, we get the raw growth, we can mill it, we can get products, we can roast it, get kasha, we can make tea, and Chinese are selling buckwheat tea. Chinese are selling buckwheat beer. Whenever we go every 3 years to conference and we get products. Last time I got buckwheat tea bags are still with me, because that much we got it. Question is, can we think in our mind and can we execute? The possibility is there. The only thing that needs to be done is to execute what we think and become an entrepreneur and develop this society. Next, please. Now, how do we make this? This question was put up to me by Dr. Sohalia. How do we dehull the grains? Processes are there. There are machines which are available now. If we don't want to waste our time in developing a machine. Purchase a machine. Straight away. Go ahead, purchase and get dehulled buckwheat before bagging, which is a mix of groat and hull and grains, because we don't get complete dehulling there. Then what do? People have developed, I don't have that here. No, I don't have, I will come to that next. People have developed scanners. Pass through a belt, the material passes through and a scanner scans it. It scans it on the basis of color. And there's an automatic movement of the ones which are growths. They are going to one side, the hulls which are going to other side. Do I get an improved yield? Yes. So I don't worry who makes it. I need to input in terms of resources, in terms of infrastructure, do it and process it and pack it. Next, please. Here is the scanner. I'm not advertising for any company, but I say it. Scanners are available. And packs are available. Automatically, they go in different directions, in different packs. From a mix to hull separate, growth separate, through the scanner, which is like a conveyor belt system, like an airline. You read the code, here you read the color. Next, please. So there is a chain of events that we need to understand. If you need technical advices on that, yes, it's always available. If you need industrial advice is available, the banks are ready nowadays to provide the loans. If you need blockchain marketing available, advice is available, people are here to help on all those counts, but the chain has to be followed. Have a uniformity in the traits. Like we can't have big seeds, small seeds, one type of seed, another type of seed, segregation of the seeds so that quality, seed quality is maintained. Nowadays we are very particular about infection. Infected seeds, no. Rotten seeds, no. So the segregation of quality is important. We can't look at it, I am preparing it in my home. Washing is important. Removal of the pathogens or non-pathogens is important. Then grinding is important. Removal of the hull and the growth is important. To get the ultimate is the quality product. And believe me, my experience is if your product is of a good quality, there is no dearth of market. That's important here. Next. So what is available? I showed you that there was buckwheat is cultivated in Ladakh. Ladakh was considered to be, is still considered to be a remote area, no transport available, which is throughout the year. And here is a startup of 3 girls plus 1 co-founder who started a startup called Kangla Nishar. If you give this keyword, you will get this photograph. This is taken from the net again. And they are making buckwheat products, buckwheat tea, buckwheat pasta, and buckwheat pesto. They are making it, and they don't have, unfortunately, the access to the market. They are able to meet only the local demand, but they are doing it. If they can do it, why can't people do it in Northeast? The question is to be answered. Buckwheat tea. The important thing with buckwheat tea is it is a mixture of such important phytochemicals which are having health benefits, not like coffee, which is in caffeine. It has flavonoids, which are antioxidants. It has phenols, which are antioxidants. It has rutin, which is a cardioprotector. It has proteins also, and it has a good taste. I have tasted it. I think many others must have tasted it. Don't take daily because it will become monotonous, but change your habits. Take it in between. And sometimes you can give it a delicacy. Some guests come. If you have buckwheat tea in the market, I don't know whether in Meghalaya we get buckwheat tea packs. I don't think so, because nobody has attempted. If that is so, then is it a niche market for us? Yes. Why do we get Darjeeling tea? Darjeeling tea is a niche market. Otherwise, Darjeeling tea is just like another tea. It's a brand. Can you not develop your brand? And if you can, well and good. Next. And then have a guest in the morning or have your breakfast before going to office. Have a mixture of crochets, have a mixture of grains, have fruits, have tea, have milk. And see how fresh you will look for a good, healthy lifestyle. Choice is yours. Our job is to create an ecosystem for entrepreneurships to bloom based on the information that we have. That job has been, I have retired now, I should tell it here. I have retired from Northeastern University, but that doesn't mean we are out of the game. We have here Meghalaya Farmers Commission taking up the challenge and bringing it to you. Now comes the industrialist, the entrepreneur, who has to take the process forward. Next. Chinese have taken it to a lot. All these are functional foods from buckwheat. And if they can do it, why can't we? The choice is yours, the job is available. Package it, sell it. Cakes, pasta, groats, and breakfast, full complete breakfast. From nutritive point of view, what do I do next? What do I do with the hull? I make buckwheat pillows. So I get the best out of hull, I get the best out of growth. And we have many people nowadays sitting 24 hours on PCs, computers, and everybody has spotlights. Most of the people have spondylitis. The advantage with this is the type of consistency and softness these pillows give, your foam pillows don't give. And that is how I purchased for myself from Amazon buckwheat pillow, which is anti-aging of the neck. So if they can do it, why can't you do it? This is what has been developed. And this is available. Fit it in the Amazon or fit it in the Google search, you will get this picture. And I have it with me. So buckwheat hull pillows is another one. Develop the industry and have the potential. Next, please. Can you do it? If yes, thank you very much. If not, I will still ask you, try it. Industrialists, entrepreneurs have to take the risk, and they do take the risk. Take the risk and reap the benefits. Thank you very much.
I am a Kashmiri Pandit, sir. So I think so are you, sir. So it's been there in Kashmir, certainly. I also live in Uttarakhand, and I am growing buckwheat. But if you go to the Trans Himalayas, then we have the Tatarik. That yes, that is what we grow. It's extremely bitter. But yes, we currently have about 2 hectares under cultivation there. So, which is why, because it is known as Ugal in Uttarakhand, it is also known as Kuttu, and predominantly what is eaten there are the leaves and not so much as the groats. In fact, the groats are used mainly in worship, so it's offered to the gods. I don't know whether if you are aware.
Okay, the latest I have been, earliest I have been able to get the info is from 1500 Indian buckwheat. Okay, number one. Earlier stages, people mostly used with common buckwheat, and in Europe, it's common buckwheat, which is the most predominant one. The problem with common buckwheat is yield instability and traits instability. We will not talk about science with the others people. So somewhere I get good yield, some year I get bad yield, depending on whatever happens. Let's not talk about it. Tartary buckwheat does not have that problem. Tartary buckwheat gets a stable because there's an element of what we call as heterosis. I don't want to talk about that. There's an element of I will say partitioning of materials, food materials between the leaf and the fruits without talking, but we get the yield, stable yields in Tartary buckwheat. Why people still prefer common buckwheat is the loose hull. Easier to remove. Tartary buckwheat, the seeds are smaller one and difficult to remove. But go to China, it's Tartary buckwheat. Go to Himalayan Nepal, it's Tartary buckwheat now, which has gained more popularity than the common buckwheat. That's one. Leaves are taken because leaves have the highest rooted and antioxidant capacity. So my experience, my means I'm a farmer, I am a field cultivator. Out of years I have seen that if I take leaves of this, it gives me a vegetable, and at the same time, my health is much superior. So I prefer the leaves. I do not have a concept of product development or processed foods. So I throw out the grains and use them in fasting and that time only, right? But when I come into the concept of product development or processing, then the grains provide a better alternative but we have to process. Himalayan and Indian context, food processing has remained still a historical aspect, little less focused on, except for few. And industries have come up on now. Ramdev has come on everything, processing. Whether that is good or bad, or that is not the question, I am not arguing, but processing. So if you process, and what do we need to propagate is the qualities of the grain, it requires processing, and these are the processes that you have to develop to become an entrepreneur. But for your own consumption, you continue to take leaves, no problem. And leaves give you the food material, quality of routine. Routine is the highest in leaves. So that is the major purpose. Any other question? I am here tomorrow also. Don't worry. If there are any queries, any aspects, I don't give answers. I won't have answers to everything because that's not possible. But wherever I can help, you are most welcome.
There's a team that has come from Maharashtra. There is a team that has come from Maharashtra. Okay, they would like to spend some time with you a little later, sometime whenever it is possible. So I want you to connect. Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is K.N. Kumar. I am currently chairing this Farmers Commission, and we have put together this global showcase for buckwheat. Yeah, please.
I would be very happy if this becomes an annual event.
Yeah, thank you very much for saying that. Well, it could be. It could be, among many other possibilities. Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Nikhil. It's a very enlightening presentation made by you. In fact, I had heard about you for the first time from your student, Dr. Lashai. And when she mentioned, she said something very nice about you. She said, sir, he is the god of buckwheat, she said. Okay, but usually God is not visible. Usually, if there is someone who has seen the God, then maybe they are exceptional. But I don't think there is anything called God. If there is one, also nobody has seen. So I said, if he is God of buckwheat, then how is it that I have yet to meet him? You know. So in fact, I scolded her in a manner of speaking, saying that you should have brought him the first thing, because the last 2 years we've been working, and then we have engaged your student as one of our prime movers of buckwheat momentum in the state of Meghalaya. So thank you very much, not just for this enlightening lecture, but also for preparing students like her, who are a huge human resource for a state like ours, because we don't have many local people who have done PhD. Probably she's the only one who has done a PhD in buckwheat from the state of Meghalaya. So we are very happy that you have prepared her. Speaking about the presentation, I'll just pick one example, in fact, about noodles. So I do not know how many of you are aware. Noodles is a 10,000 crore rupee market in India. And 98% of this entire market is made out of maida. And maida is one of the worst things discovered by human beings. It causes all the problems of the world. In fact, most of our diabetics can trace the problem of diabetes directly to maida. And this entire 10,000 crore market can be easily substituted. And I'm talking about India only. I'm not talking about the global market. Can be substituted easily, provided we really pick buckwheat as one of the potential sources. And we can bring it center stage. We can wipe out some of this existing market relating to that wheat flour, very refined kind of wheat flour, not the regular one. So there is a company called YY Noodles. In fact, among the people who consume this maida-based noodles, Northeast has a very large consumption of this. That also is a problem actually. In fact, it is working against the health of our own people here. So I think we need to work a little bit on making making the noodle technology, simple technology of noodles to be brought into our state through buckwheat. That's one thing which I think we all will have to work together. That's one. The second point which you have fleetingly touched but not really dwelt much is about the wine and beer industry based out of which country? That was Slovenia, if I'm not mistaken, or some other country. Yeah, Chinese also. They must be making. And for us, it's a great opportunity. In fact, when I mentioned about buckwheat beer, in fact, Mr. Goto, an acknowledged expert on this subject, was not very enthusiastic. He was just listening, yeah, it's okay, maybe, we don't know, and all, that kind of a thing. But we know that in our country, this can be a very good option because it is gluten-free. Because other kinds of beers that are made in our country are essentially based out of gluten-based cereals. Now, this is a pseudo-cereal, so there is an option for us to consider this as a great possibility. So, yeah, you could please explain.
When we put the buckwheat grains for making the beer, the output is turbid. So we have to develop a methodology for reducing the turbidity of the grains, which we don't get in the conventional beer or wine. We get very clean, clear one. And people are trying on it, I should say it. People have succeeded also, but there is no full success, complete success that it is as clean as the other beer markets or winery markets. But yes, what was said is, it is gluten-free. That way, it is beautifully, and it has high antioxidants. That's also important. That way, it is much better nutritionally and otherwise for consumption. Thank you.
In fact, the gentlemen who came from Maharashtra are actually winemakers. And they are very keenly observing what all that you have said. And just 3 people running such a huge company which is producing wine. So I think they are taking a leaf out of whatever he has said. I think you'll have to start making investments. And this is also an occasion for me to invite. Here, people have come from Maharashtra, people have come from Hyderabad, people have come from Bangalore, they have come from all over the country for this particular global showcase. And there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are very silently watching and observing what can we do about it. So I am extending an invitation. Raw material will not be a problem. It's just a question of your interest and making yourself available to us. And then we will give you that kind of a commitment to produce as much as you would require in times to come. We may not be able to do it immediately, but 5 years down the line, I have this belief that we will be one of the top producers of buckwheat in the country. I am sure and certain about it. I am convinced about it. And our farmers, you would see there are nothing less than 2,000 to 3,000 farmers sitting and listening as I am speaking to you. Actually, they're all listening and seeing me say this. They're all ready. It's just a question of making them confident that whatever they produce can be sold. And that can be sold only when the industry steps in. Otherwise, it can be a huge distress-like situation. I don't want that. Then I also want to publicly acknowledge the presence of Dr. Arun Patnaik. Is a director of Center for Agricultural Biology or Agricultural Biotechnology or something like that in Ranchi currently. But he was the first one who initiated this entire thing. I have to publicly acknowledge and express my gratitude on behalf of the state of Meghalaya. He has given me 20 kilograms of seed way back in 2019 and said this is something which you should try out. He's such a humble, shy, reticent kind of a person that whatever he said was prima facie, I wasn't sure whether he really means it or not. But anyway, we tried it out and then now. Yeah. Yeah, he's here, yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Patnaik. And if this kind of a combination between a research institution, the government and the farmers, if this triangle is somehow, if it can come together, we can make a huge difference to our country. And that is what is at the moment missing. And that's what we need to work on. And regarding other items like routine that you were mentioning, I was just checking. 100 capsules, bottle is 1,000 rupees in Amazon, of course, and somewhere else also. There are so many companies which are already started producing and selling also. So I think the opportunities are endless for buckwheat. I'm confident about it. But the production at the moment, you have seen the global map, we don't figure anywhere. And even those, Northeast also, wherever it has been shown in dark color, but actually the production is not structured. The government is not behind any one of those. It's some individual farmer trying to produce something for the sake of taking it, maybe trying to learn a little bit here and there from YouTube, listening to lectures here and there, and then trying to get involved. But Meghalaya is the only state which is systematically getting into this buckwheat promotion and cultivation. And I'm very grateful to the participation of the Japanese team here, headed by Mr. Hirano, Mr. Hirano, Major General. He's actually an army man. You would have already guessed it by the way he speaks. Okay, so he's a wonderful man. And actually he's become a personal friend over the last 2 to 3 years. We have worked together on various things. And just one last point. We have not touched this wine part. Tomorrow, there will be a food pairing session with the fruit wines made in Meghalaya. So we are bringing these two things together. Now, fruit wines, grape wines, of course, everybody knows. But the non-grape wines, in fact, the record is that about 90% of the total wines produced in our country, they are of grape only. They are made of grape only. Only just a small quantity of non-grape fruit wines are being made. And we are one state which is making that. And those wines are now being paired with buckwheat. So we are creating a new market out of it, which has never been known. So tomorrow we have 3 sessions, and Mr. Gaurav Thapar has come from Bangalore, and he is an acknowledged, well, did I say wine master last time when I spoke to you, or whatever it is? So he is a fantastic, he conducts that whole session. I'll request the gentleman guest from Japan also to attend that. So he is now beginning this journey, and this journey I'm sure is going to be pretty long, I must tell you, Mr. Gaurav, that wine, fruit wine, non-grape fruit wines of Meghalaya are going to be paired with the buckwheat products of Meghalaya. So this is the story. So tomorrow we have 3 sessions on that, and I'll request those of you who are wine enthusiasts also to join in. So once again, I express my gratitude to the gentleman from Japan. Excellent coordination from my office, Farmers Commission, Mr. Solia. He and Dr. Lashai are the king and queen pins, or whatever pins. Without them, nothing will happen here. So they're all here, and I express my gratitude to all of you for having spared your time to be with us. I think now we will adjourn for lunch. Yeah, right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kumar and the Farmers Commission for inviting us to this great day in Meghalaya. In fact, in 2019, when I met Dr. Kumar, I never believed that this is actually going to happen. Although it was there in my mind that the institute from which I actually came is at Almora. Its name is Vivekanand Parvatiya Krishi Anusandhan Sansthan. Many people around the country know about it, and recently it's making its presence in Meghalaya. But today, I'm thankful to Dr. Kumar that they have also invited the original people who are behind this variety, which I brought it to Meghalaya. With me is Dr. Lakshmikant, who is the present director of the institute in which I was there earlier. He is actually a plant breeder. Now he has joined as a director, but he is basically a plant breeder. Then we have Dr. Rajesh Kumar Khulve, who is a principal scientist in plant breeding. And I must also say that this is the institute which is behind the first biofortified maize variety of the country. The first biofortified maize variety of the country was also developed by this group. Then with me is Dr. Dinesh Joshi. He is also one of the well-known millet breeders of this country. And with me also we have one engineer, Dr. Ritesh, who is currently looking after developing small machines for the dehaling and all those things. I think on behalf of my previous institute, the Vivekanand Parvati Krishi Anusandhan Sansthan, and my present institute, Indian Institute of Agricultural Biotechnology, I thank the Farmers Commission profusely for inviting us and making our dream come true. Thank you very much. My respect to Dr. Churungu also. I was here for a very long time, a wonderful teacher to all of us. And thank you, sir, for seeing you again and being able to listen to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Patnaik. And with that, we have come to the end of these two sessions. And I think, yes, it's a glad announcement. Lunch is ready. All those of you, officials and the VIP with the VIP badges, the lunch will be served in the restaurants. There are 2 restaurants. So you go this way, down the stairs, straight. So there are 2 restaurants. Your badges are there. There will be people. So please go ahead and join us for lunch. Thank you.